Salvete omnes. This is Gai Iuli Caesaris Commentarii de Bello Gallico Liber Primus, Chapter 11. So the Helvetians are making their move through the less favorable route through the territory of the Sequani in the Jura mountain range. But nevertheless, even though that is the route that didn't seem to be a problem for Caesar, all of a sudden Caesar has sort of made it his problem. So Caesar writes that Helvetii jam per angustias et fines sequanorum suas copias traduxerant, et in haeduorum fines pervenerant, eorumque agros populabantur. That's terrible. So the Helvetii, nominative plural masculine subject, the Helvetians, jam. Jam means now, but it can mean now in the past, present, or future, as opposed to nunc. Nunc means now only in the present time. So jam can mean now, as in now they were ready, or now I am ready, or now I will be ready, which we often translate as soon. Soon I will be ready. Jam in the past can also be translated as already. And here it's probably going to be best to translate that as already. Jam, this adverb, is working off of this verb traduxerant. So per angustias, through the narrow place, the narrowness, or the defile. That's the narrow pass that they were passing through. Already through the narrow pass, et fines sequanorum, and accusative with per, through the territory of the genitive plural sequani, suas copias. Suas, circle the su part, draw an arrow back to the subject. So they are the Helvetians copias, the Helvetians forces or troops. Suas agrees with copias, accusative plural feminine direct object of traduxerant, third plural pluperfect active indicative of traduco, traducere, traduxi, traductus. So the Helvetians had already led their forces, their own forces, through the narrow path and the territory of the Sequani, and at in haeduorum fines, in plus the accusative motion towards, and into the territory, genitive plural, of the Aedui, pervenerant, third plural pluperfect active indicative of pervenio, pervenire, perveni, perventus. So they had arrived. Pervenio takes either ad or in plus the accusative case to show motion. So, and they had arrived at the territory of the Aedui. Eorumque, remember que, the enclitic, is translated before the word to which it is attached, on which it is leaning. Eorum, the genitive plural masculine or neuter of is-id. I imagine it's going to agree with the haeduorum, or refer to the haeduorum. Agros, accusative plural masculine of ager, agri, masculine fields or farmlands. And populabantur, third plural imperfect. It's a deponent verb, so looks passive, please translate as active, and it's indicative. And they were destroying, laying waste to their fields, their farmland, their territory. Notice the verb tenses. The Helvetians had already crossed through the narrow path and into the territory of the Sequani. They had already led their forces through the narrow pass and into the territory of the Sequani. And they had arrived into the territory of the Aedui, and were, imperfect tense, were then, past tense, were then in the process. The imperfect shows a continuous action in the past, or a process, a habitual action. They were in the process of destroying, laying waste to the fields of them, laying waste to their, their, their Aedui fields. Aedui, what are the Aedui doing? Cum se suaque ab iis defendere non possent, legatos ad Caesarem mittunt rogatum auxilium. Ita se omni tempore de populo Romano meritos esse, ut paene in conspectu exercitus nostri agri vastari, liberi eorum in servitutum abducti, opida expugnari non debuerent. Debuerent. So we have idui, nominative plural subject. So while the Helvetians are doing this, the idui, meanwhile the idui, cum. This is when, since, although, plug and chug. So when, say, suaque, remember the enclitic is translated before the word to which it is attached, themselves, the idui, and sua, the su refers back to the idui, the that's accusative plural and neuter. It could also be nominative plural and neuter, but I think it's accusative plural and neuter. It refers to their own things, their own stuff. We could also say their goods, their things, their stuff, their goods. So themselves and their goods, their possessions, their stuff. Ab plus the ablative. Defendere, present active infinitive. Defendo, defendere, defendi, defensus. Non possent, so complementary infinitive of possum, posse, potui. Imperfect subjunctive, third plural, active. They were not able. So when they were not able to defend accusative themselves and accusative direct object their stuff, ab eis, from them, ablative of separation, the eis referring to the Helveti. I'm going to plug and chug since. The idui, since they were not able to defend themselves and their possessions from them, from the Helveti. Okay, I'm going to go with since. I think since is going to sound best because this is explaining. This is the cause of the idui then doing their next action. So since they were not able to defend themselves, what then do? Legatos ad Caesarem mittunt. They send legates to Caesar. Notice the present tense here. If this is the main verb, and it's in the present tense, mittunt, and it is present tense, third plural, present active, indicative of mitto, mittere, misi, missus. If this is present tense, we are in primary sequence. If we are in primary sequence, then this dependent subjunctive clause, the verb should be either the present or the perfect subjunctive. Why do we have the imperfect here? The imperfect only shows up if the main verb is a past tense, or we have a historical present here. This is a historical present. It's present tense to draw you vividly into the action, but it is actually acting grammatically as a past tense. Miserot, it's a perfect tense. They sent legates, ambassadors to Caesar. And that explains this imperfect subjunctive here in this dependent causal cum clause. So they send, you can translate as the present tense. It's vivid. We do this in English. So since the idui were not able to defend themselves and their possessions from the Helvetii, they sent ambassadors to Caesar, rogatum auxilium. All right, rogatum. Here we have an accusative supine. We have a verb of motion, mittunt, sending. Sending implies motion. So we can use an accusative supine here to express purpose. So it's the fourth principal part, and always and only ends in the accusative fourth declension ending, rogatum. There's also an ablative supine, and that ending is u, and that would be rogatu. So the accusative supine expresses purpose with a verb of motion. They send ambassadors to Caesar for the purpose of, this is why they sent ambassadors, in order to ask, for the purpose of asking. To ask, auxilium, for direct object, auxilium, auxili, neuter, aid, help. They send ambassadors to Caesar to ask for help. Why? Well, because they were not able to defend themselves and their possessions from the Helvetii. Now, you're going to have to go ahead and add a verb of saying here. This is what they say. They then go on to say, because this next part is in in an indirect statement. So we have an indirect statement here. So you have something like dixerunt, they said, that, ita, se omni tempore, de populo Romano meritos esse. We're going to stop right there. So they said that. Ita means thus, thusly. It's an adverb. And it kind of tips you off if you have an ita, especially if you can see the ut following, that this is probably going to kick us into a result clause right here. More on that later. So thus, in such a way, or so, say. Say is very popular as an accusative subject of an indirect statement referring to the people who are talking, because it's reflexive. So who's talking? Who's saying stuff? Who's asking for aid? That would be the legatos, the ambassadors. The aedui send the ambassadors to Caesar. The ambassadors are to ask for aid. The ambassadors say that they, the aedui, the ambassadors, accusative, subject of indirect statement, that they themselves, omni tempore, both ablatives, ablative and probably time when, at every time, at each instance. So at all time, I would say at every time, in every time. Every time this came up, the aedui were there. So at every time, de populo Romano meritos esse. So we have meritos esse. This is a verb. And this is perfect, and it is a deponent verb. So it looks passive, please translate as active. It means to deserve, to be deserving of, you can see merit right here. And you merit of, or you are deserving of praise in the eyes of someone, de plus the ablative, de populo Romano. So these aedui say to Caesar that they, at every instance, at every opportunity, omni tempore, at all time, had merited well, had well deserved, had been well deserving. How well deserving? Ita, so well deserving, de populo Romano, in the eyes of the Roman people, concerning the Roman people. So the aedui, de populo Romano, concerning the Roman people, in omni tempore, in every instance, they had so well deserved, so well merited, they had so well proved themselves, ut, that, with the result that, they were so deserving of praise from the Roman people, with the result that, ut, paine, nearly, a paine insula is a nearly island, a paine, peninsula. Paine means nearly or almost. Paine in conspectu, in plus the ablative, conspectu, you can see spectu, spectacles like sight, in the sight. Exercitus nostri. We have exercitus with a macron over the u, genitive of exercitus us masculine, army, nostri agreeing with it, genitive singular masculine, so of our army. Nearly in the sight of our army, nearly in our army's sight, within sight of our army, agri vastari, that the agri, ager, agri, masculine, fields, farmlands, vastari, present passive infinitive, vasto, vastari, vastavi, vastatus. So remember, we are, this is going to be dependent upon another verb. So vastari, it's a present passive infinitive. Liberi, this is going to be children. Liberi or masculine plural, children. The little free people. Nominative plural masculine, it is a coordinate with agri. So the agri are vastari. The liberi eorum, genitive plural, the children of them, in servitutem, into servitude, into slavery, in plus the accusative motion, abducti, you can see, kind of see abduct there. So to be abduco, to be led away in servitutum, to be led away into slavery, into servitude. Let's go ahead and say slavery. They're not getting paid. Vastari, present passive infinitive. Abducti, also present passive infinitive of abduco, abducere, abduxi, abductus, to abduct, to take away. So fields are getting wasted. Children are getting led away into slavery, kidnapped into slavery. Oppida, towns, nominative plural neuter, because this is nominative plural, this is nominative plural, this is nominative plural. So fields, children, towns, expugnari. Towns are getting expugno, expugnare, expugnavi, expugnatus. Towns are getting stormed, taken by storm. Towns are getting sacked. Non, negating debuerent. Remember that result clauses also use ut non instead of ne. So we have ut non debuerent. And here's our subjunctive verb. Third person plural. Subjunctive. Perfect subjunctive. So actually that should make that introductory verb. I think I said dixerunt as a perfect. We should actually make it a present. Dicunt, they say. And it is vividly a present. So they say that they, in every instance, at every opportunity, had so well deserved in the eyes of the Roman people, had deserved so well in the eyes of the Roman people that they did not deserve, they did not owe, they ought not, that ought not their agri, their fields ought not be laid waste, their children ought not be kidnapped into slavery, and their towns ought not be stormed. Within nearly the sight of our army, meaning our army is so close, our army can nearly see all this happening. Our army can nearly see, the Roman army can nearly see the agri, the fields being laid waste, the children being taken into slavery, the towns being stormed. And that's bad. The Aedui non debuere, they say that they don't deserve this. We, the Aedui, we've merited so well in the eyes of the Roman people at every opportunity, at every chance. We've proven ourselves to the Roman people that our fields do not deserve to be laid waste, to be destroyed. Our children do not deserve to be led away into slavery, and our towns do not deserve to be sacked, to be taken by storm, within nearly the sight of our army, of the Roman army, of an allied army. So altogether, since the Aedui were not able to defend themselves and their possessions from the Helvetii, they send ambassadors to Caesar to ask for aid. They say that at every opportunity they had deserved such praise in the eyes of the Roman people that their fields did not deserve to be laid waste, their children did not deserve to be kidnapped into slavery, and their towns did not deserve to be taken by storm within nearly the sight of our, you could say, the Roman army. Harsh words. And of course, this is good for Caesar. This is giving him the reason for war. This is giving him a legitimate reason where he can go back to the Roman people and say, of course, I had to stop the Helvetii. They were attacking our allies. Look what they did to our poor allies. Eodem tempore, cohaedui ambari, necessari et consanguinei haeduorum, Caesarem certiorem faciunt, sese depopulatis agris non facile ob oppidis vim hostium prohibere. So eodem tempore. Eodem from idem, eadem, idem. The is ea id part is declined. The dem part is not. The dem part tells you that it means the same. So ablative singular neuter to agree with tempore, and it means the same. At the same time, ablative of time when, like omni tempore is an ablative of time when. At the same time, cohaedui, in which the Aedui were saying this. Some texts do not have this part, which is why this is in brackets, as well as this. So you really don't need this, as you really don't need this either. So at the same time, the Ambari, who are necessari et consanguinei haeduorum. So we have the Ambari, nominative plural masculine, they are a people. They are necessari. They are, your family is necessary. You have to put up with them. Sorry, they're your family. Whether you like it or not, they're necessary. You have to put up with them. Necessari, family, relatives, relations. You have to put up with your relations. Sorry, it's necessary. Et consanguinei, you can see sanguinis, blood. So they are relatives, relations, and blood kin. Sanguineos, nominative plural. This is also nominative plural. Both agree with the Ambari. So at the same time, the Ambari, comma, relatives, relations, and blood kin of the genitive plural Aedui, comma, Caesarem certiorem faciunt. So remember the idiom certior fio or certior fieri, certiorem facere. So we have they plural, present tense, make Caesarem, the accusative direct object, certiorem, a predicate accusative. They make him, direct object, this thing. And because he's an accusative direct object, the thing that they make him also must be accusative. And this is called a predicate accusative because it's the predicate of this. It's what they make him. They make him more, it's comparative, more certain. You can translate this into English as they inform Caesar. So the Ambari, relatives and bloodkin of the Aedui, they inform Caesar. They make Caesar more certain. They inform him that the thing that they inform him of is a noun clause, an indirect statement of what they inform him. It answers the question, what did they inform him? That, say, just the emphatic form of say, not just say. Probably accusative, probably plural, probably masculine, probably subject of the indirect statement, referring to the Ambari. So they inform Caesar that they, themselves, the Ambari, de populatis agris. De popular is pretty much the same as popular. So this is the deponent verb. You can translate actively. It's perfect, agrees with agris. So we have an ablative absolute. With their fields laid waste, destroyed. So we can say after their fields were destroyed. Non facile, or since their fields were destroyed. This ablative absolute can be translated causally, because they're giving the reason as to why non facile, not easily would they prohibere, were they keeping the whim, the violence, the accusative direct object, violence or force of the enemy, ab opidis, plus the ablative separation from their towns. So the Ambari, they inform Caesar that they themselves, are not easily keeping the force, the violence, the might of the enemy from their towns, with their fields having been destroyed, laid waste, burnt to cinders. I would say since, because. This is explaining why they were not easily able to keep the might of the enemy away from their towns, because their lands are being destroyed. So altogether, at the same time, the Ambari, relations and bloodkin of the Aedui, inform Caesar that they not easily are keeping the might of the enemy from their towns, since their fields have been laid waste. Oh no, the Helvetians are just destroying everything in their path. If only a strong man could step forward and stop them. Item, likewise, item alla broges, qui trans Rhodanum vicos possessionesque habebant, fuga se ad Caesarem recipiunt, et demonstrant sibi praeter agrisolum nihil esse reliqui. So item, likewise, and also, the Allobroges, those guys, the Allobroges, qui, relative pronoun, introducing a relative clause, the antecedent being the Allobroges. So I'm going to guess this is nominative plural masculine. It could very well be the accusative plural masculine direct object. Here we have plural masculine because they have to agree in gender and number, not necessarily in case. But qui is definitely nominative, so is the subject of this clause. So the Allobroges, whether they are the direct object or the subject here, they are definitely the subject right here. Who, trans, across, takes the accusative Rhodanum, of Rhodanus e masculine, the Rome, across the Rome, Wikos e masculine. These are hamlets, villages, accusative plural direct object of some verb coming up. So who, the Allobroges who, they're going to do something across the Rhone to these hamlets, possessionesque, and the enclitic and translates before the word to which it leans. Possessiones, possessions, accusative plural, let's see, that's going to be feminine. Direct object. Direct object along with wikos, connected by the conjunction que. Habebant, third person plural, imperfect active indicative of habeo, habere, habui, habitus, to have. Who have, or you could say had, because it's imperfect, who had hamlets and possessions. I would say villages and holdings. They had holdings, possessions, they had property across the Rhone. Of course they have property across the Rhone. And of course the Helvetians aren't allowed to pass through that because the Allobroges are allies of the Romans. Of course that would be terrible and a cause for war. Of course. Caesar needs a war. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Likewise, the Allobroges, who had villages and holdings across the Rhone. Fuga, ablative singular. There's a macron over the A. You just can't see it. Feminine of fuga I feminine means in flight. Se, either the, well, it's got to be the accusative or the ablative. Going to find the subject. Circle this. Whoop. Recipiunt. So third person plural. Looks like the Allobroges are the subject. So they're the subject of both this verb, recipiunt, and they are the subject here, qui and habebant. So the Allobroges have these villages and holdings. They also recipiunt se being the object of recipio, and that forms the idiom se recipere, which means to take, capio, oneself back. This means to retreat. This is the Latin idiom for retreat, to take oneself back. So it works reflexively. So me recipio, I take myself back, means I retreat. Te recipes, you take yourself back, you retreat. Se recipit, he takes himself back, he retreats. Se recipiunt, they take themselves back, they retreat. So they retreat ad Caesarem, to Caesar, in flight, by means of flight, ablative of means. So the Allobroges, they running away. In flight. They're running in terror to Caesar. Hey, they have possessions across the Rhone. I bet the Helvetii are destroying those too. Oh no. Property. Et demonstrant. And they demonstrate. They point out. They show. They explain. That, indirect statement, what they are explaining. Sibi. That. Sibi praeter agri solum nihil esse reliqui. Sibi, once again reflexive, so it refers back to the subject they, meaning the Allobroges. So plural, masculine, and it's dative. So to themselves. They point out something to themselves for themselves, something in reference to them, the Allobroges. Praeter means beyond, besides, or except. Here it means except. E-X-C-E-P-T, except. Agri solum, agri being the genitive or nominative plural masculine, but here it's the genitive. Genitive singular masculine, possessing the solum. Solum here, this means the ground. It's the accusative object of the preposition praeter. Except, beyond the soil of the fields, the bare soil, the topsoil of the fields. I would say the bare soil of their farmlands. They point out that beyond, except, apart from the bare soil of their farms, nihil, emphatic, nihil esse, there is nothing. Nihil esse reliqui, there is nothing of remaining, there is nothing left. Reliqui is an objective genitive. It works with nihil, there is nothing of remaining. This is how the Romans say there is nothing left. because nihil is a noun. So there is nothing of left, nothing remaining, sibi, for them. So that is a dative indirect object. They point out that there is nothing left for them except the bare soil of their farms. That the Helvetii have destroyed everything, laid waste to everything. The Allobroges are running away in flight to Caesar. And they explain to him that there's nothing left for them, nothing remaining for them, sibi, for them, except the bare soil of their farms. Quibus rebus adductus, Caesar non expectandum sibi statuit, dum omnibus fortuni sociorum consumptis in Santonos Helvetii pervenierent. Oh, to knows. Quibus rebus adductus. So quibus rebus, quibus from qui quae quod, it's agreeing with rebus, whereas English prefers the demonstrative, these things. Latin prefers which things to really emphasize the things that immediately preceded beforehand. Because of which things? Because of these things. This is the adjective quibus, agreeing with rebus, ablative. Ablative of cause, probably, and it's plural feminine. Adductus. Adductus, perfect passive participle in nominative masculine singular, agreeing with the subject Caesar. So, having been influenced, adductus, led to, adduco, having been influenced by which things? By these things, these affairs. Which ones? All this stuff that's happening. Wow, the Helvetians they are cutting a path of destruction. It's amazing. The Roman allies have no chance. So, Caesar, influenced by these things. Non expectandum sibi statuit dum. Non expectandum sibi statuit. So statuit is your third person singular perfect verb. Statuo, statere. It means statuo, statuere. It means to decide. It forms the root of constituo. So he decided. He decided that, indirect statement. Non expectandum sibi. Non expectandum sibi is an indirect statement introduced by statuit. Sibi, that agrees with Caesar because it's a reflexive and it's dative. It's the dative of agent. So the dative of agent, remember, is the one that must do the expectandum passive periphrastic. So you have the gnarly nd thingy, expectandum, undum, so undus a from expecto, expectare, expectave, expectatus. We're missing the esse, which would the form of sum that works with the endus a thing. So Caesar non expectandum esse sibi. Remember that the one that does the passive periphrastic, because the passive periphrastic is always passive, that's the dative of agent, not the ablative of agent. So that's what sibi is doing there. So sibi, referring to Caesar, that's the one who has to do the passive periphrastic expectandum. And what must sibi, Caesar, not do? Non expectandum? He must not wait. He must not wait around. Wait around for what? And that then leads us into dum. Wait around, dum, until. And dum, meaning until, takes the subjunctive, which explains the last word, pervenierent. So, influenced by these things, Caesar decided that he must not wait. Dum, until, omnibus fortuni sociorum consumptis, a string of ablatives with one genitive nestled snugly in between. I wonder what this could be, guys. It seems like it probably is an ablative absolute. Omnibus fortunis consumptis. Your training wheels translation. With the noun participle. With all the fortunes consumptis, having been consumed. So with all the fortunes of the allies having been consumed, after all the fortunes of the allies were consumed, had been destroyed, in Santonos Helvetii pervenierent. In plus the accusative, motion towards, in Santonos, so in Santones, remember that is the ultimate destination of the Helvetii, to go to Santones. I'll show you a map in a second. Helvetii, nominative plural masculine, that's the subject of the final verb pervenire. Third plural imperfect active subjunctive. It's subjunctive because of dum. Until the Helvetii arrive, pervenire, in Santonos, remember pervenio takes odd or in plus the accusative of motion, until the Helvetii arrive among the Santones, at the Santones, omnibus fortuni sociorum consumptis, after all of the Romans' allies' fortunes were destroyed. Meaning that the Helvetii, going through this route, they got permission from the Sequani, they're going through the Ambari, and they're just destroying everything here. Oh my gosh. The Allobroges, across the Rhone River here, the Allobroges have vicos and possessiones here. And of course the Helvetians have just destroyed those as well. Oh my goodness. What's going to happen? Well, the Santones, this is the final destination here. Remember, Caesar's claiming that he's freaking out because, as everybody knows this, that the Santones, not too far away from the Telesates, right here, which is a civitas, a state inside the Provincia Romana. Oh no, how terrible. So Caesar, having been influenced by these things, decided that he must not wait until the Helvetians arrive at the Santones after all of the allies' fortunes were consumed or destroyed.